very much for seeing me. Polina here, talking to you about the solstice today. It is coming up in just a couple of days on the 21st. So this is heads up about the meaning of this time and how you can enrich yourself through this transit and make the most of it instead of flying all over the place and making different versions of yourself, which all kind of have to live later on in the coming year and a half. So why year and a half? Because we're talking time, we're talking measure of time. There's a special quantum during this time where we plug into the future of our reality and the past, because we're going for no man's land with the global MC between Sagittarius and Capricorn. We are starting up brand new things on the subconscious level. Why it's not the start? Okay, people question me a little bit about this. Why am I so crazy about not celebrating the year during this particular time of year? Is because it is not really the time. The equinox measures time as we're going from Pisces to Aries on the 21st of March. That is a true beginning of time. That is a true measure of time. Why? It's because we've done the whole wheel of samsara. And by the end of Pisces, we've come to realize ourselves through our previous year. That is a full sort of gestation period, of letting it go. The wheel of the zodiac brings you to a closure by Pisces when you really understand what is wrong and what is right, what is light and what is dark, how your year has gone. And by the end of this energy, we have a brand new kick start at March 21st, where we're going to Aries and we really want to giddy up. We just want to conquer fear, conquer it all, and just make it anyway. Just show up, just show it. So basically here is where we cannot go wrong. We celebrate equinoxes for a specific reason, and that is to understand and to really fulfill ourselves through the wisdom and the sharing and the reality checks that come through during these times. So now we have a very big one in the global MC on the 21st of December. But now what I'd like you to see, what I'd like you to witness about your life is who have you become? Because Sagittarius is like the believer, the sign of the believer, and the mercenary in some ways. And then on the other side, we have this super cool galactic Capricorn during this time, as we have Jupiter in the first degrees of the sign, also kind of meaning to help, but on a different level. So we have the mercenary and like the fighter or the protruder in fiery Sagittarius, replaced by this meaningful figure of Capricorn. So here we have the clergy, here we have perhaps the sun that doesn't really shine. Okay, so here we have the vulnerable system of corruption also starting, because we are looking at the sign of the grandfather or the galactic Noah that just comes in with some meaning once in a while, only to leave something behind or to be left behind. So this is like the sign of sacrifice on a global scale, if we really link it to the Catholic Church and where we are now, thanks to the Gregorian calendar and all these different corruption systems that are underneath all of that stuff. So I'm not going to tell you too much about that. I'm just going to tell you, please, on the 21st of December, realize what that time really means to us now. Okay? And that is forgive and forget and let it go. We are practicing our speeches. Okay? We are starting to really resonate or not at all with other people. We are starting to really begin the new unconscious blueprint for the global dream, which we will then reap again on Solstice 2020 in June. Okay? And we don't really need to really do that much. We just have to basically let go. And for some people, it is about sacrifice. For some people, it's about coming of age and recognizing our biological and energetic age and our trauma and the trauma that our body has endured in order to really be what it is. Also, aging, oxidization as part of that natural process, natural cycle of being here on this planet, blueprinting as we do. What is the worth of power? What is the meaning of pleasure? What are the meaningful things that we have in mind? There is nothing really that you have to do, okay? Global MC. Starting the year around this time is just a weird portal to open. So that's why also Christmas, I will talk about this later, is a very strange time to celebrate, okay? Then after the 21st, even after the 28th, this kind of build-up is over, but please consider when you have time, okay, if you have the luxury of time during this time, where are you speeding up too much? Were you trying to build an extra ego on top of your ego? Were you trying to rocket sky high? And were you trying to find remorse? How are these things really battling within you? And there are certain phenomena that I'm seeing around me right now. It's like people are building themselves up and then they're also knocking themselves down underneath. We have the sun following Saturn in the sky. We've also got a very, very beautiful Earth, very close, okay, to the North Node. Okay, very, very close to the North Node and coming up to the North Node in Cancer. So we've got a very, very enormous globality about this. And even these tiny little stories that you're living with your little friends or, you know, everything like that, even tiny, like non-specific stories and even things that you buy, little novelty items, anything that you're buying right now has a global decision behind it. And there is no portal better than to save your cash. Save it, okay? Your cash is meaningful now. Jupiter conjunct Sun in the sky coming up soon. We have a very, very superficial energy, okay, of this futile, actually, Mars dragging behind the Sun, also with Mercury as well. We've got to basically recognize where we are now. We've got to just stop and see it. Like, for example, where you are, where your nature is going, like where your nature has led you. Okay, what are the seductive elements of your life? Where are you killing your time? When have you sped up for the sake of impressing another? Where have you suffered or suffocated your actual natural gift? When did you place yourself in a martyr's role? When did you think I'm going to feed the whole household? Sorry, I'm going to make people proud of me. You know, I'm going to really be that person that deserves respect. And the phenomena of like human contradiction, we can't just be there. We've got to like hierarchically sort of emphasize different features in different people, the respect and representation, which is not all bad actually. And all these hierarchical systems might now need to shift towards a different light. We've done so much damage to ourselves and others through the process of looking for something or meaning or being meaningful people, finding these freaky things in ourselves and in the outer world to resemble and to show and to protrude. Capricorn is all about sometimes showing up on the surface. The innocence or the corruption of the mind. It's a very, very weird, futile time right now to fight and to really understand it all. Like, don't try. Basically here, because it is a very, very sensitive energy during this time, try to seek out professional help if you're really not sure. But if you are worthy, like really worthy of you, okay, if you're worthy of living, you know, really fully breathing and feeling yourself, okay, make sure that nobody is questioning you, nobody's cunning around you, that you're not clouding your mind, and just sit there maybe for a little bit, just a little bit, observing your time. How are you? Where have your thoughts led you? Where have your investments led? When you have a loss, and some people have many losses during this time, understand them as a certain part of a parable that you are spinning for yourself. These different losses or these different angles that sometimes losses can create make you believe something else is perhaps positive that before wasn't seen, or something else is negative, like it will just change your life. Positive and negative kind of swivel around and change shape, also because coming up we have here like Moon in Libra also coming up to this time. So we have a very, very nice also conjunction of Pluto and Saturn really ushering us and aiding us to forgive and forget and basically let that martyrdom go. Are you a martyr right now? Are you trying to turn things around in a weird way? Are you using your body, mind, or spirit to join the dots? Are you a fighter? Are you a make-believer? Are you suddenly a super Christianic or a super paradoxical parable spinning person? Do you have by any chance during this time A guy or a woman next to you that you don't even want to tell anybody about? Are you displaying different colors and different types of psyche for different people? Have you got the need or the craving for different type of affection or attention? And also, are you now in harm's way? Did you perhaps consider how you might protect yourself physically, financially, verbally, even sensually? What do you really want to do here? How would you really like to do this? And this is where Christmas takes the cake. People just run around doing things for anything else but themselves. Unless you have very special planets in your chart, quite often Christmas is not going to pump you up. It is actually going to deflate and create disarray and an undistinguished energy in your energy field, okay? And it's going to kind of basically deform the projects that you actually have, and it might actually snap off or break different things. I'm not going to tell you that much, okay? Here you might want to do your own research as to the actual origins of Christmas, okay, if you're really keen. The pagan, the Grecian, Roman origins, the ancient world origins, maybe you want to look up, why the monsters, why the pillaging and the blood, during these particular holidays, why the killings, why the culling, and then also understand how come our current natural society in this planet, everything's natural. Our current society, societal system has really revered this holiday beyond all means, like beyond and above all else. And what is the pillar that supports this holiday? Okay, so the Illuminati system, everything like that. You can all show yourselves, show each other these findings if you really want to know. If you really want to look, please have a look, have a think about why are we doing this? And I'm not just saying the corrupt cycles of buy and sell, that's a tiny part of it. This is not about marketing, this is not about sales as much as it is actually about harvesting of energy and also human lives. So Capricorn is a very, very innocent time if we really let it be. It's not all about the goat, it's not about Saturn. It's not all about, the horned one, or it's not about all the other side, like the other side of this world, the hidden links beneath and above all people. It's just basically the emotional integrity of you gets shown. And when we have thousands of ways of distracting ourselves, we distract each other from our own inner bubble in our own world, Capricorn doesn't really have a lot to show. And eventually undistinguished or undistinguishable ideas come through. Here's when it's almost like giving a birth to many. It's like, I want this person, that person, that person, that person, and I want it all to be around me, or want it all to be all over me, like these different ways that you might want to suddenly have 4 or 5 different people around you. You might have 3 or 4 different egos, or like almost like heads grow on your shoulders. This is where we want to this, that, and the other. Like, I want to be the dream, the star, and the influencer, and supermodel, and I want to be all these things. That's why people buy a house, they renovate their car, they get, freaky with someone else, they buy a whole lot of things, and they don't understand this is not what a holiday is. This is not holiday. This is hollow days, very hollow days. And we sometimes can bring up into the world, because in a sense, grandfather Capricorn is like the birther of new concepts and dreams, and also the birther of society, because the next chart is Aquarius, of course, society, okay? We birth about a conundrum. It's almost like a mutated version of where we are actually in this realm and who we are on this planet. Please don't buy, don't spend, do not buy plastic things you're going to throw away 3 days later. Oh my gosh. If you're going to ever shop during this time, get something ethereal like a gift card, and don't sign anything, okay? It's occult, okay? So Christmas is an occult. I won't say holiday, it is an occult practice, okay, that we all part of. And basically, because of these types of practices throughout the year, we have the civilization we have today, okay? And these types of ancient Roman, Grecian practices really don't have to be part of this world anymore. We don't have a Caesar, really, we don't really have that. blood and violence culture perhaps anymore. And if you don't believe me, if you don't trust me on this, if you think this is really far-fetched, I would trust it's a good time to have a look, do some research, and actually also look into like harvesting, how certain energy fields harvest us, how we get harvested as well. And what are all these industries based on? The irrelevance, of wisdom, and the relevance of, physical blood, and, resemblance to other people. It all starts here, the obsession with Capricorn culture, Capricorn-based culture, pop culture, father figure stuff, hierarchical stuff, the Illuminati. It all basically began on this particular type of energy. And I'd like to basically now, maybe not necessarily, comment on this, but if you'd like to maybe talk to your friends, talk to amongst yourselves, talk to each other about why the heck would you need to do this? Like, why do you need to do like half the things you're doing? If you have a story, or if you have an adventure, don't keep it silent from anyone. Talk about it. Okay, Mercury is behind the sun. You might want to keep silent. Oh no, don't tell anyone. No, tell. Don't keep silent. Tell people how you feel and what you think. If you have suddenly decided an adventure, if you have suddenly met a person, if you have suddenly met yourself, or if you have suddenly launched a career, if you suddenly designed this brand new future, really talk it out. And ask yourself all these questions. Am I like a seven-headed person here? Do I have 4 different concepts and another 3 that are like blowing my own mind? Am I at the, how could I say, at the point of rapture all the time? Do I have like this kind of pumping energy going through me, almost as if something else is possessing me to do these things? Did I ever really need to know that which I know? Did I need to study that which I studied? Did I really need to comply to this particular person or situation? Am I really looking for recreational activity and things of the heart in my life? Or do I really, really want to just plow and plow? Plowing, so plowing the field, Capricorn, the worker, before the enlightenment of Aquarius and Pisces. See the last 2 signs, having fun and then doing nothing at all. So Capricorn is that hard work, that hard center, and the egoic center rising up and saying, what about me? Well, I did this, I did that. And this is why the MC is such an important time to grace yourself with all the best things. I hope that you have gathered these around. This is where, of course, 21st, you are in your finest, in a sense. This is when you deliberately understand your space and time. This is where you wear your best. This is where you step up to the world and you say, yeah, sure, I did this and this. These are my best pieces. There is nothing but this, okay? Very nice to showcase. Yes, it's true, for sales, some people in this life really do draw a lot of attention and a lot of magic from Capricorn, as well as Jupiter, being so close to the sun. Yes, sales. These are my best pieces. These are my best portfolio pieces. These are my best songs, or these are my best sounds. I'm going to be doing a ceremony, actually, a vocal ceremony, an ayahuasca ceremony on the 21st. So at this time, I'll probably be performing as part of my game on this planet, I suppose, as performance on a certain level. So there is like something that we all need to basically draw out from the previous days. So for example, you had something sacrificed, okay? You don't need to celebrate this. This is a quiet, like sentient time. This is where there is something going on under the surface. You don't have to like place anything behind or above. Basically just understand what has been sacrificed. For example, a relationship has been sacrificed for me, for example. I had accidentally wiped my computer and my next book was on the computer and it is now sacrificed. It's about twin flames in relationships, actually. It's quite interesting. Then, for example, I had something cancel. My kitchen was in shambles because they were changing the countertop. I had something else fall through and a couple of other things. So there is like a sacrificial element. If you've had something kind of go up in the air, if you had a friend flake out, if you had many friends flake out, if you found that you had nothing where you thought you had something, or something where you thought you had nothing, especially also if you've been given like trumps, if life has been sort of serving you trump cards and you didn't even know about it, if you have by accident changed your life completely during the last part of this cycle, if you found that something completely rebalanced and shifted, or if you find that you have found gold where you never thought there was gold, write it on a piece of paper. Last 2 or 3 weeks. Where have I lost? And where did I find? And it can be as simple as running into the right person at the cafe at the right time. It's happened to me recently. Accidentally being given a beautiful applause or being given beautiful praise. Okay, for some reason that worked. There is something that you found at the store that was right for you. You were given, especially when you didn't really search for it, you didn't really hunt it, and it kind of like boomeranged into your life. So that's where we have to basically place it as it is. If you want, you can do 2 pieces of paper, one for maybe most recent losses and the other one for most recent finds. The losses could be very, very simple. Like, for example, I went outside and I was wearing the wrong footwear and it was raining that day and my feet were wet all day and I felt horrible. That's already a metaphor for your reality, okay? These are very, very showing times, very mystical energies. And then maybe on another one, like, for example, I met the neighbor's cat finally. I was trying to bring it to my house with different biscuits and, calling for the cat, like, meow, 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 meow. And the cat wouldn't come. And then today I was just sitting there and just came over and it stared at me for a long time. We made eye contact and then it left. So there is something of a find and something of a loss, I think, between quite a few people in many ways. You might want to sit there and maybe satisfy yourself in these energies and also consider what are the events. This is really witchcraft, but it's not. It's actually just common sense. Okay, what are the events that happened around that particular loss or find? And what are the finds and the losses that replaced each other? Okay, so you might have found somebody very special to you and then you finally lost that person in your life. Or for example, you were paid really badly for this job, but somebody offered you a really amazing secondary income, or these things fell through, these things came in. So please consider, this is a very private time, okay? Unless you're really seeking wise counsel, that you can like call someone up or maybe see a doctor or somebody. Very nice time for doctors and therapists actually during this time. You can see somebody to basically give you a little bit of advice and a little bit of closure as to like what this means to you and how you feel about it. Therapist chair, fantastic time. I don't usually feel that it's a fantastic time. It's a fantastic time now. So if you'd like to see somebody who can help you bring yourself up really fast, so this is like hyper fast maturity or like hyper fast reform, it is a fantastic unity with the stellium in the sky to really, really seek that wisdom and to bring yourself up really quickly now. And all of that stuff that's lagging. Are you looking for confirmation? Are you flirting with everyone? Are you trying to be 3 different people at once? Do you have a fear of what you look like, smell like, or feel like? Are you in a shame? Do you feel like you need to host and cater for the whole family? Okay. Do you feel fear when people come to your house? Are you afraid of how you might look or appear to other people? Did you have a secret spill? Have you got secrets? Have you got secrets inside? How's your endocrine health? Okay, how is your self-connection? Are you self-contained? Do you fear how you fear? Do you fear what you fear? Are you afraid of tiny little things, or tiny little details? Are you always in a state of regret? Try to push into those things, because this is why I'm not being negative. I'm just helping you, okay? The sun is in the first degrees of Capricorn, the MC, and we also have this Chiron in the first degrees of Aries. It's really good to just do that little surgery. And also we have North Node actually here in conjunction to the Earth and the first degrees of Cancer. This is like a really beautiful beginning of a cardinal square, okay, that is square to each other. It's really beautiful. And also building up to this, we have the moon going through beautiful Libra, so this completes the square. It's really nice just to kind of go in there and really, really make sure that you maybe just in this squeeze of time just like zoom past all of those details, all of those unconscious or like blasphemous things that you're doing, maybe like all these things that you're hiding behind closed doors, all the things that you think you know but you don't know and you never need to find out, like all that garbage, all that heebie-jeebie stuff, and just go straight to the top. If you can, build yourself up, but quietly. So this is not when we like do like this, or we show the world who we are. No, 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 the time is done. This is more like where we sort of regulate ourselves quietly inside, we find that new balance, we find that new poise, and we certainly, we certainly don't have to fall for anything. Don't fall for anything or anybody during this time. We don't have to rip it ourselves, and we don't need to expose anything. If you've been reading my day-by-day blogs, this reminds me of the story of Icarus this whole week leading up to this particular time. You don't need to sell yourself, okay? You don't need to murder previous versions of you to be this final outcome. You never needed to do that. You don't need to push your past away. You don't need to chase after it. You don't need to become versions of your previous selves, and you don't need to be a next vital frequency for anybody. This is where people get grafted for nothing, okay? And you don't need to be in service. But the one blueprint finding skill during this time, I can't believe I'm telling you this, you guys, is basically to see what you have in your life, okay, as a metaphorical connection point. If you are giving gifts, okay, even if they are, okay, playing God a little bit, everything that you give has a metaphorical element. Like you give somebody a little snowman, okay, that's a metaphorical element. Like you will melt, something will go, okay? You give someone an elephant, that is a completely opposite metaphorical element, ageless and wise and eternal in a sense, or a turtle, for example. See, like all these gifts, all these presents, all these symbols are metaphorical elements that really actually guide us along a certain synchronicity wheel, but we are jamming in there. On Christmas, everybody gets a word, everybody gets a card, everybody gets some kind of a blueprint from you. So if you are doing Christmas gifts, a certificate, sign it, whatever, don't sign anything. Just scribble, certificate, it's fine. Bad handwriting saves you during this time. Also, don't participate in any nonsense, like wearing of little hats, doing the same thing as everyone else, like singing songs together. That is a cult. That is, it's almost like you shaved on one level, and it's like the pyramid. It's like steps in a pyramid. It's not good, okay? I'm just letting you know. Although, back to the actual solstice on the 21st, you can afford to do this, okay? So, if you are gonna have a Christmas function, okay, don't, okay? Like seriously, this is like inward time. This is like the shamanic mushrooms. This is like the Amanita mushroom, okay? Like the story of reindeer. Why reindeer? What is the relevance of reindeer? Please look it up in your own time. The hallucinogens that the shamans traditionally took during this particular season, you don't need to worry about it. But basically, it's very, very mixed. Like all these cultures, all these tribes, really mixed. Like Christmas is a no-no. Okay, don't. But okay, because of this time being magnificent, you can afford to have dinner, during this time and come together. But this is like a soul reformative time. The best is the people that you trust the most, that you don't do anything with. No work parties. What for? Plugging in, Capricorn, work, plugging in again. Oh gosh, I need to see these people again. Who am I in front of these people? Like, no, parties. Like, parties with your friends and maybe your significant other and, someone else like that you actually really want to hold on to. Like, who you actually deliberately would love to stay. MC, okay? Watch out, okay? Please, ladies, who's messaging you during this time, who desperately wants to see you at their house, and also who you yourself would desperately like to see next to you somehow around the solstice, the 21st. Like, I really want you here. Like, I want you here. Like, please watch out. This is like groundbreaking, some of the stuff, because this is like occult magic. When we are here, okay, the moon wanes with us as well. It's coming up to its to the sun. Okay, so the moon is waning. I'm going to do a new moon video very soon as well after this, very quietly. There is a waning energy, okay, in the sky. I will talk about this separately as well. And there needs to be kind of like a nice remembrance. In the last few degrees of itself as it's waning, the moon basically says, here I am. And it's like, into your arms, okay, into your soul, okay, into your situation, into your lifetime. So if you really want to connect with someone here, and please don't use this advice badly, please consider the people that you're holding hands with during this time, because this can actually be super sincere, and for some people it can be groundbreaking, but we have to all make sure that we are there for the right reason, that we actually really deliberately care, and that we really deliberately want to know more in these circles or in these particular vibrations. But if you're waking up now, as I am also, and you're kind of feeling like a little bit of like a freak out as to what you had planned on the 21st or beyond, and you're kind of like sitting there thinking, wow, gosh, how did I plan that fast? Or like, how did I make this all, how did I do this? There has to be perhaps an awful time for some people, perhaps a sobering time. I would definitely suggest it. Okay, a sobering time. Like, what have I done? Or like, why am I always doing this? Like, how did I put myself in this role? Or like, what are the different things, feelings, that are powering the mechanism of this creation? Okay, like for example, on this day, I've decided to see like a certain person. What are the different mechanisms? What are the different creative and maybe uncreative systems that have actually dropped me into their reality? Or there are all these amazing, powerful people that I really want to know and they're just not calling me back. Or like, did I shift lanes somewhere? Have I lost a part of my heart? Please forgive me for giving you too much advice here. Take care of yourself, okay, first. When you feel enough without ego, okay, then you can call up your parents and family and stuff. Make it like, mend it okay. So like where people hate each other and they're at the same table, even after, even for Christmas, it's just not gonna make anything, okay? The 21st is a specifically good time to have that, okay? It is a merging time. If you consummate a marriage here, it is very strong, okay? If you consume something here, it's very, very epic. If you decide to finally do that part of the dream, if you finally do that dance, if you bang that drum, if you say that word, if you realize who you are and what you are bringing throughout your life, like what are the seeds that you're planting here? What are those tiny little seeds that you are always planting? These have to be planted now, maybe on some level for some, especially for the elders or the people that are, somehow in that role in society. And also like maybe understanding the worth of your work, or that like self-judgment that comes in sometimes, or that crippled feeling, or that feeling of like abstinence and abstaining from certain things. And also, yeah, the guiding light, like the 7 deadly sins, the 7 virtues, all of that stuff. Where are those feelings within yourself, and how are you tying yourself to the complexity of like the grand human life, like the grand human life, like the grand human work? It's like my life's work, or like my life's purpose, or like what I'm actually really learning to be, or like how I'm using the vehicle of art, or doesn't matter. These are tiny things, like the vehicle of art or self-expression, how I'm using my job or my relationship to enlighten who we are, because we're in a pig year, okay? And the bartering is getting strong, okay? Some people are like starting to barter, at this time, because rat is next, okay? Buy and sell, sneaking around, like, being coy, and also putting on different masks to fit different people, okay? You will see them come out. 21st is like, by the way, not a huge deal, but it will start to really show up, okay? You will start things show up. You will start to see things show up, and you will start showing up. So it's like also noticing yourself during this time, aging, signs of aging, or sign of like age regression, sign of poverty, sign of wealth, where you have generated too much and you had to break it down, where you are regenerating, like where things are building upwards and where they're just not growing anymore. And that all has to be done inside. And also, yeah, unbelievable but true. Shamanic journey is not actually about spirits and fairies and meh. A shaman, to me, or maybe like a new brand of shaman is like what I really like, is a human being that can work with the insides of the body, like really understand the different parts of nature that it has taken within one's own flesh, and then through that recognize the flesh of another. Okay, so I'm not seeing, you guys at the moment for maybe too many readings and things, simply because I'm still trying to work it out within myself, like the different paths that I have done and the different parts that I've played, also because in many people there is more than one, okay? And I'm just kind of like seeing you guys like right now, like with this time and like the abandon that I'm feeling from you guys and like how different people want to feel all these different things all of a sudden, or like um, how to like activate those glands, or like how to really activate the heart. And like really it's all done inside, it's an inside job, you know what I mean? And there's a reason why one of the luckiest things during this particular time in December and January is just to be alone. And that's not because for fear of being hunted, or for fear of like all these like ghosts from the past, haunting you, or things kind of falling out of your hands, like sometimes in this part of the year. It's nothing like that. Some of the time it's actually quite enjoyable to see how your body works and to actually poise the degenerative processes that Capricorn kind of like chooses to give us sometimes. If we are not in alignment with time, so aging and debris and humiliation, things that are knocked down or things that are disorganized or disorderly, partially like that because they don't have the fidelity in the first place, and we have to learn more about nature and ourselves, I guess, because Capricorn is the most natural sign, to really recognize and to infinite, that's even a word, I don't know, to re-imprint or reorganize the way that we as a collective see the nature of our reality and the nature of time, focus, power, and play, and who we are as a species that is not degenerative, it is regenerative. So it's like not working on the bones of the previous system, but rather refining or reframing the previous works in such a way that is integrative to our greater collective system. So here we got questions of sustainability and sustenance, and also human life on planet Earth, walking with her without spinning her out, And these amazing dimensions that I'm also going to talk about in the next couple of videos are going to come up for all of us, these answers and these, how can I say, ancient situations almost that we remember without regret instead of trying to create new ones all the time. All of these ancient and maybe slightly pragmatic but global and vital ways are going to come back to this earth, basically partially out of us realizing ourselves first and what we have within our own bodies, and then that knowledge and that wisdom carries on to another, and we don't even have to talk. And the ear, okay, the nakshatra, I forgot what it's called, I'm sorry. The Vedic nakshatra, or like the Vedic sign, during this time actually is the ear, the hearing, okay, over Capricorn. We will start to deliberately notice things, smell things in the air, or feel a sense, or like sentimentally acquire knowledge about things with time, instead of trying to fight ourselves all the time and push on through where there's just no way to go. So thank you so much. This is the highest point of the sky. Please, before you make anything, before you do a performance or a concert, or you put anything in front of another person, before you feed your crew, before you make anything happen, please consider the worthwhile, the gentle, the eternal seeds that you are planting during this particular transit. And what more actually can this time give you if you just sit quietly too? So thank you very much, you guys. Hope you enjoy this very shamanic and astounding time, the thinning of worlds and the bridging of dimensions. And also with the coming new moon, I will be talking about soon. I hope that you have the right keys from your previous situations or from your previous hurts and maybe your previous guilts to open guiltless and abundant and healthy and fulfilling dimensions that are all going to start to cultivate themselves underneath with Father Time, Grandfather Time here in Capricorn. So thanks, guys. I hope this has been good for you. I hope that you have found lots of things for yourselves. And if you haven't, that's okay. Join me on Patreon, Facebook. You know, if you'd like to get a reading, I'd love to read for you. If you'd like to be here in Mexico, there's lots of spaces. Thank you so much. Enjoy, and I will see you next time.